Yo, what's up? In case you didn't know, I design most of my own outfits, and most of my videos I am likely wearing something that I made. I also sometimes take existing concepts and make designs out of them for my own amusement, and that is what I'm going to do today. So for inspiration, I looked to a game that I really enjoy, and that is the Finals. For those who don't know, the Finals is a fast-paced class shooter with a few signature elements to the game. The most common one being unscripted server-based building destruction. Gotcha, Joe Biden! Oh my gosh. Is this falling? No! I love the grapple. The premise of the game is that every match you're in is being live streamed to a massive audience around the world. Every match earns you fans and you gain a lot of rewards for doing so. This game is essentially how sports and esports in real life work. I love the Finals because its use of color and movement reminds me of an old favorite game called Mirror's Edge, and the fighting is really fun. However, what made me choose this game was the fact that there are fictional companies and organizations with their own lore in the universe that you can pick to sponsor you in the game. You can see their branding across all of the different maps in the game. These sponsors, after a bunch of gameplay, will give you cosmetics like special outfits and weapon skins. I thought it would be fun to make an outfit based on one of those sponsors. So there are lots of sponsors in the Finals and hopefully more on the way. Each sponsor, as you can imagine, is its own company that specializes in its own industry. For a couple of examples, there's Alpha Acta, a company that specializes in panic buttons, home defense, and arms dealers. There is also ICLT, which is known for its physical and digital fashion tech. There are several more, but I thought it would be cool to go with Ospuze, a company whose main product is their energy drink. So I chose to go with Ospuze for a couple of reasons. For one, the people that I play with all chose this company as their sponsor. So I figured if I made some Ospuze clothing, I would have designs on file, and giving them some custom clothing at some point would be a nice gift to them. Also, I wanted to choose a brand whose identity kind of matched how I normally like to dress. The featured cosmetics are more laid-back streetwear, but also clothing that could be worn for athletic purposes. My sport of choice is parkour, and I like physical activity. So I like to wear clothing that I can wear to most situations, but can also move really well whenever I need or want to. Based on the funny ads that the Finals put out, this sponsor seems to align with that extreme sporty atmosphere. They remind me of Red Bull Athletics in a lot of ways, so when looking at Ospuze, this was a no-brainer choice. So, for garments, I thought I'd go with a rash guard because that doubles as nice thermal wear for when it's cold under a shirt. A long fit t-shirt because I like my shirts long and going down to my thighs, a hoodie, and a bucket hat. I normally have print-on-demand companies doing the physical printing for me, but I wanted to try and find more comfortable shirts and tech pants to wear. So this time, I needed to buy some of the garments myself and print them myself. I thought it best to go with a shirt from True Classic because the material combination is nicer, and I also like the length of them. With the printing, I read up on different ways to do it. I came up with the conclusion that direct-to-film was an easier method as opposed to screen printing. So I ordered a heat press and found a company that uses film sheets for printing on clothes with heat presses, and we'll see how that goes. For the design, I decided to try to impersonate what I saw in the game mostly. I'm pretty new to heat pressing, so I thought I'd keep it simple. I remember seeing lightning and tiger patterns on a lot of cosmetics, so I decided that should be the pattern for the clothing, as well as the logo itself with its slogans, Pop, Pour, Perform, and Let It Breathe. I did take some of the lightning and try to put that behind the main logo just to add a tiny bit to it, and that felt right. Other than that, I didn't really do anything differently from what I saw in the game. Ospuze already has a cool identity and attitude to its design, so I did not feel any need to come up with anything new to add to it. Why fix something that's not broken, right? As far as printing goes, as I mentioned earlier, I have a website I normally use for print on demand called Printful. I am going to use Printful for everything except for the shirt and the joggers. I like their products and I have been using them to create designs I like for over 6 years now. I like Printful a lot because they have products called all over prints, which means you can essentially put whatever you want, wherever you want on the garment of your choosing, as long as they have the physical type of garment for you to print on. A lot of them use recycled material as well, and I am a fan of that. So with this part, I was no stranger to at all because I've been using this website forever now. I just needed to line up the design PNGs I have from Photoshop properly, and I was good to make an order for the clothes I chose to design. So in this case, I decided to run the hoodie, the bucket hat, and the Under Armour rash guard. So for the basic t-shirt, I ordered a heat press and it came in pretty quickly, so I put it together with a little bit of help from my dad. The press came mostly assembled. I only needed to screw in a couple of things, so I appreciate the company Vever for making their products easy to set up. I used this website called dtfsheet.com to order custom designs onto sheets that I can heat press into material. By the way, I was emailing these people for like 2 months before I even ordered anything, and they answered every question that I had and were really nice, and also had pretty good prices. If you ever want to press your own clothing, I highly recommend them. Their film sheets came in at the same time as the shirts, so I got to work. I'm going to link these websites in the description just in case if anyone wants to see where I got this stuff from. Okay, welcome to the part of the video where I step aside for 5 to 7 minutes, share a Bible verse or two that I read, and talk about what it means, how it helped me, and how I think it could help you too. So if you do not want to see that part and just go to the rest of the video, skip to, I'll timestamp it or put it on the screen. But if you are cool with sticking around and hearing something that I think will be helpful and cool, come with me and I will be setting up this new drone that I just got and trying it out while sharing something that I think is going to be really helpful. So if that sounds good to you, come on, let's go. Okay, so today's verse I want to talk to you about is in Matthew chapter 11, verses 28 and 29, and it says, "Come to me, all you who are weary and burdened, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you and learn from me, for I am gentle and humble in heart, and you will find rest for your souls." Okay, here we go. Okay, and I think if I just sit it down like this, it should be fine. It should be fine. We'll see. Let's see what happens. Okay. And I think if I hit go fly. Okay, the camera's on. But before I fly, let's talk a little bit more about it. So basically, when Jesus was talking about his yoke that he said that we should take my yoke. A yoke back then was a heavy wooden harness that fits over the shoulders of an ox or an oxen, and it's attached to a piece of equipment that the oxen are to pull. So Jesus's yoke is implying that he is pulling, and what he is saying that he is doing is he's pulling our burden or carrying our burden for us. So basically the idea is that we're supposed to be coming to him when we're struggling with anything, kind of. Okay, this thing really wants to fly. Okay. So if I put if I do the two dongles like this, on the right one and the left one, it should start to hover. So let's see if this works. Okay. All right, it's hovering pretty cool so far. All right, nice. Let's try bringing it down to the ground a bit. Not bad for a first try. But anyways, so the reason why Jesus wants us to share, basically, I want to share how leaning on him has been helpful for me ever since I met him. There's been a lot of times in my life when I thought that I had no clue what to do in terms of work, in terms of how I'm going to take care of other people that I care about. Like, what am I going to do? But in a previous video that I talked about, I really just ended up trusting Jesus with all of it, just gave it all to him. And because of that, it ended up working out pretty well. It didn't work out immediately, but what did happen was I ended up feeling much more peaceful with everything. The anxiety went away, everything went away. And yeah, that's just one part to it. But I want to practice flying this thing one more time before I tell you about the other part. Okay, so practice number 2. 3, 2, 1. But for some reason, up there, right above that tree, it just lost connection and flew into it. But fortunately, I decided to test this when there was snow outside. So it just plopped right into the snow. And as you can see, it's kind of wet, but no damage happened to it at all, I think. So basically, I thought there was nothing that I could do, right? But it ended up working out for me eventually, which in my head, I knew it would work out for me eventually. But you can know things in your head that you're not gonna know in your heart. And when you have lots of burdens, every time somebody that I know of has gone through something, they have always known they're going to get through it eventually. But a lot of damage can be done to you while you're trying to deal with something. And basically what I'm getting at is Jesus wants us to lean on him and lift our burdens to him, so that way when we go through our problems, he is able to give us a type of peace that we would not be able to attain on our own. And when that happens, going through the problems, it becomes significantly easier. You feel like there's less weight on you. Like when I was going through my season of waiting through unemployment, when I accepted and truly gave it all to him, it became so much easier. And I just knew, not only in my head, but in my heart, that something would work out eventually. And I think that is what Jesus was talking about here. And that's how it applied to me. So this is how I think it applied to me, and how I think it could help you as well. I'm gonna take this thing up one more time. With printing, I am not good at all. I took 2 print classes in college, printing press and screen printing. I sucked at both of them. So I was pretty nervous about ordering enough materials to only print a design once. I decided I should start with the tiger pattern at the bottom of the shirt first. I read up on directions and it said that any shirt that is a polyester blend, which these shirts are 40% of, should have a lower temperature and a faster print time. But the tiger pattern peeled off a bit when I printed it on the very first attempt. So I tried to save it the best I could and managed to make it look somewhat acceptable by my standards. I found that the guides were undershooting the print time and I should press with higher temperature and longer. I don't blame the guides though, because if you burn polyester, you will create a very toxic gas that can kill you. So no one wants that happening. Since this is not pure polyester and the temperature was already low, I decided to go from 8 to 20 seconds and everything else came out much better on the shirt. For my next designs, I will not be trying a continuous pattern as ambitious as this tiger pattern. All in all, I would say that this was not bad at all for a first try. One of my favorite things about the finals is how the modeling and animation teams just make the characters present the drip in an effective manner. That fog that they have going on behind them and the great posing really helps bring out the brilliant design. So I decided to give it a try myself and make a bit of a showcase. I had a lot of fun with this. There are a few things I wish I did differently, but as I said before, as far as first tries go, I'm happy with this. I'm going to do Via next, and I actually already have some designs from the brand on its way in direct-to-film material for me to print. I'm going to take everything I learned from this and make my Via clothing even better. Yo, what's up? Thank you so much for watching this. You could have been anywhere in the world. You could have been watching anything, but you're here watching this video that I made, and I really appreciate you for that. If you stayed for the devotional part, I hope that really blessed you. If you like this type of video that I did, and you want to see me doing more stuff like this as opposed to vlogs, let me know in the comments. This was a really fun experiment, and I'd be glad to do more stuff like this. But anyways, until next time, thank you so much for hanging out, and I hope you enjoyed yourself. Peace.